Alright, so today I want to slow things down a bit because this isn't one of those clips you rush through, talk over, or try to make jokes about. This is Mark Golding, leader of the opposition, standing in parliament not to argue, not to oppose, but to honor Steve Cat Coore, one of Jamaica's greatest musical minds and founding member of Third World. And honestly, this was one of those rare moments where politics stepped aside and culture took center stage.
Thanks, Minister, Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the Minister for her contribution, her tribute to Stephen Cat Coore. Well researched and very appropriate. I too want to join the other members of the House in welcoming two of his sons and other relatives here who are participating through watching the proceedings on this historic occasion where the House pays tribute to one of Jamaica's finest musical sons. Madam Speaker, we on this side have an additional connection in the sense that his father, Honorable David Coore, is a former chairman of the People's National Party, former member of parliament, former minister of finance, and deputy prime minister, as has been said. And I want in that context to also convey our condolences formally in this setting to the family of Cat Coore. Cat Coore was a consummate musician, a very versatile musician. He was best known, of course, as a lead guitarist, but he was also a virtuoso on the cello. I've seen a recording of him playing Nassum Dorma with A.J. Brown singing that famous Italian song, which was a theme song for the Italia 90 World Cup. But he was also a great songwriter and was responsible for either individually or collaboratively penning and writing numerous songs for Third World over the years, many of which became household hits. And he was a good singer. There are songs that he sang for Third World, certainly verses that he sang as effectively a lead singer, but very good with harmonies as well. So we're talking about someone who took the music, Jamaican popular music, to another level. And Third World was always very experimental. That was what was so exciting about them. You know, not only their music, and their music was always very experimental. Fusion, from roots reggae through to dancehall, fusions with jazz, fusions with R&B and soul, classical aspects to their music and so on. They were unique, and are, I would say, because I don't know what the future will bring, but up to the present, you know, there have been several iterations of Third World, but Cat has been in each iteration, from when Prilly Hamilton was the original vocalist, I believe, through to the period of Ruggs. Ruggs was really perhaps the lead singer most associated with the sound of Third World. Into more recent times, I think A.J. Brown has been singing for them, and of course, he's a great singer as well. So that versatility was also combined with live performances that brought a new level of creativity to concert performances. You may remember things like Explanitations, I was too young at the time to be permitted to attend and watch those shows, but friends of mine in the community that I grew up in on the university campus on College Common attended, and it was always described as a phenomenal experience, the way in which the concept album was taken into the concept performance and brought a unique dispensation to how Jamaican popular music and reggae in particular could be portrayed live. As has been said, Third World has produced some of the genre's classics, and sometimes those classics were written and performed exclusively by Third World. Sometimes there were collaborations with some great international artists. And the respect that they carried was recognized across the globe. They were an international outfit and had international respect. On a personal level, I knew Cat fairly well. He was a lover of cricket, as am I, and there are many occasions when I would buck him up at Sabina Park to watch Test cricket, and we would sometimes sit beside each other and have good conversations about cricket, but also about music and the culture. He is a revered figure in Jamaican popular culture because the tenure of his career is so long. As has been said, he started when he was 12 or 13 and continued for perhaps 50, 60 decades, years, 50, 60 years, 5 or 6 decades, as a leading light. And many of us have had the honor of and joy of watching him perform in various fora, whether it be on the stage, at Reggae Sunsplash, year after year, or in other venues, indoors and so on, including his proficiency on the cello. I last saw and embraced and spoke with Cat 2 days before his passing. Yes, because I was at the funeral for one of our former members and senators, Wickham McNeil's mother, who was a former councillor too, I believe, of the QNN division. And Cat attended the funeral. And after, when we were leaving the church, it was at University Chapel, so the last time I saw him was there, he and I encountered and we had a brief but very pleasant chat saying we must get together and talk. That wasn't to be, but I feel very privileged that I had that final encounter with him, and it was such a pleasant sharing, albeit brief. So Jamaica has lost one of its great musicians, one of its great cultural ambassadors, and someone who any of us who knew him personally would feel we were very lucky to have had the opportunity to share those personal experiences with him. Condolences again to his family, his children, and all we can say, may his soul rest in peace. What good, my brethren.
Minister Grange, hold a moment, please. There's a contribution being made by...
From the very beginning, you could tell this speech was different. The tone was clean, respectful, and measured. Mark Golding didn't rush. He didn't try to score points. He acknowledged the family first, Cat Coore's son and relatives watching the proceedings. That matters because behind every legend is a family grieving quietly while the nation celebrates loudly. And that balance, respecting both, is something he handled very well. Then he mentioned Cat Coore's father, David Coore, a former chairman of the PNP, former minister of France, and former deputy prime minister. But here is what I appreciated. He didn't politicize Cat Coore. He didn't say, "This is our man." Instead, he made it clear. This is Jamaica's man. And that's important because music like this doesn't belong to one party. It belongs to the people. Now when Mark Golding started breaking down Cat Coore's musical ability, that's when you realize how dangerously talented this man was. Yes, most people know him as a lead guitarist. But when you hear cellist, songwriter, arranger, harmony singer, the mention of him playing Nessun Dorma, that alone tells you Cat Coore was not boxed in one genre. Reggae, jazz, classical, soul, R&B. This was a musician who refused limits. And that's exactly why Third World stood. Mark Golding described Third World as experimental, and that's the perfect word. They weren't afraid to fuse sounds. They weren't afraid to be different. They weren't afraid to stretch reggae beyond what people expected. Concept albums, concept performance, live shows that felt like an experience, not just a concert. For its time, that was revolutionary. And the fact that Cat Coore was part of every iteration of Third World, that speaks volumes about his role as the musical backbone of the band. Now this is where the speech really hit home. Mark Golding asking about meeting Cat Coore at Sabina Park, watching Test cricket, just reasoning about music, culture and life. That's when the legend becomes human. But the most powerful part, the last time he saw him, 2 days before Cat passed away, a brief conversation, a pleasant exchange, a "we must link again," and it never happened. That's life. And moments like that remind you why we have to honor people while they are still here, not just when they are gone. This speech reminded me of something important. Jamaican music is not just entertainment. It is identity, history, resistance, creativity, and pride. Stephen Cat Coore wasn't just a musician. He was a cultural ambassador who carried Jamaica's sound across the world for over 5 decades. And when Parliament pauses to honor someone like that, it tells you this legacy is permanent. Walk good, Cat. Your music didn't stop. It just lives on in a different key.